All right, now that our camera is all buffed and polished, we're ready to go with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Your first question will be from Austin Huff.
Jeremiah, what was wrong with the camera there, man? It looked fine from our end. And now, and a more serious question, just obviously Alabama has a ton of weapons. So how do you try to slow down guys like Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, and Mac Jones?
Yeah, all great guys, all great players. Every great player can be contained. Every great player can be limited. Their ability, you just have to find a weakness. And that's just been our challenge all throughout the week, is just to find each and every guy that is explosive, which is nearly everybody that they have on the offense, man. It's, the linemen, you have 22, you have 4, 6, 19, 8. All of them are great players. And our challenge is just to find a weakness in each one of them. I don't think I should get into specifics and how we are going to stop them, but, we just got to find weaknesses and make sure we execute on those.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Jeremiah, sticking with Alabama's offense, the number one third down conversion rate in the country. What is, when you see on film, what is the secret to that? Obviously, down and distance is important when they have third and short, but what is the key to limiting them, getting them off the field once in a while?
Well, it's just start fast. Whether that's we're talking about in the beginning of the game, or whether that's talking about in first down, second down. Just trying to get them behind the sticks. And if you get them behind the sticks, then they're looking at a harder, more limited playbook rather than 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, where they can open up the entire playbook. So the key is just to stop them on first and second down and get them behind the sticks to make it even more difficult for them to dive into their playbook and just run whatever they want to run. So I think the issue here, or the challenge here, is to just control the narrative.
We'll go next to Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Jeremiah, congratulations on the Butkus. I wonder if you ever grew up, kids grow up when you say, I want to, be the best quarterback, best running back. Did it ever enter your mind growing up, I want to be the best linebacker in the country?
Man, first of all praises to the Most High. Thank you for that. Growing up, I never really thought about being the best linebacker. It was more like, man, I want to, just be the best football player, be the best quarterback, and I wanted to be a quarterback. I wanted to be a wide receiver. As a kid, you don't really think about defense. You think about offense, because that's the person that's, getting all the, the praise and the touchdowns and stuff like that. So not really for me, linebacker. And, all throughout high school, I thought I was a safety. I thought I was a corner. I thought I was everything but a linebacker. But, all glory to God, man, for the award and the acknowledgement. I'm thankful.
We'll go next to Larry Rubima.
Yes, how you doing, Jeremiah? You talked a little bit about high school. You growing up playing at Bethel High School. How did growing up in the 757 kind of prepare you to be the athlete that you become, especially going from scout team to All-American and winning all these awards? Just talk about how growing up in the 757 kind of molded you to be the player that you are.
Man, it's a good question. Like it's in you're a product of your environment, and coming from the 757 is just a competitive environment. Especially coming from Bethel High School with a lot of guys, looking up to AI, and look at Allen Iverson's competitive nature, and it's kind of rooted in the guys that are coming from that place, whether it's Michael Vick or any of the other guys, even some of the younger guys like Ricky Walker, guys that went to Tech and stuff like that. We always was looking up to those guys, and always looking to compete to find the next person. Am I going to be the next guy to rise above that loop? Am I going to be the next guy to rise above that standard? And when you come into a place which, the word is compete, the word is attitude, you just always want to excel those, you want to go past the sky, you want to go past the stars, you want to go past anything that is set in your way. And, in high school, that was just always the goal, to find something to separate myself from those that came after me, and ultimately to leave the place better than I found it. So.
We'll go next to Carter Carls.
Hey, Jeremiah, being that this could be maybe your last season at Notre Dame, just wondering if you've tried to do anything these last couple of weeks, or in the week leading up to this game, trying to take in the moment and just kind of enjoy the process and the journey that you've been on. And then also, you mentioned him, but Allen Iverson, wondering if you've reached out to him this week, or if he's reached out to you. and if you guys have talked or if you've gotten any advice from him about how to handle these last couple games.
Well, to your first question, man, it's been a lot going on, in these few weeks with, my name out there. So, it's always about the man in the arena. You have a lot of people in, the crowd. You have a lot of people that's even close to you that when they get in contact with you, a lot of people just coming out, the woodwork saying congratulations. And it's all appreciative and I'm all thankful. But even to that extent, my due diligence is to what's in front of me. My due diligence is to handle what is at stake. And right now, what is at stake is a national championship. It's a playoff game. So it's just been about blocking the noise out. I know that's such a cliche saying, it's block the noise out, but it's really an extensive process of having to turn your phone off some days, having to limit your social media use some days, having to focus on certain things, focus on, film and stuff like that. So it's a lot of things that you have to do to be able to block out the noise, to understand that you are the man in the arena. The man that, is important right now is the one that you're looking in the mirror at. But to your second question, I haven't reached out to AI. I don't think AI has reached out to me. I've gotten in contact with some of his close friends and stuff like that. And I was talking to Michael Vick on the phone, a couple of weeks back, but, that's about it as far as those guys.
We'll hand it over next to Michael Casagrande.
Yeah, just wondering, with all the hype surrounding Alabama's offense this year, is it an exciting challenge for you to be able to go against them in this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's something you dream of. It's almost like you're not really playing, the guys that, Alabama has. It's always like you're playing the franchise. It's like you're playing the team in the program because it's been so successful. It's been so high praise and prominent. You want to face the team that's the best. If you say that you're the best, you want to go against the best. And that's been the saying and everything. So when you talk about playing Alabama, it's a great honor. It's a great, privilege to be able to be on the field and compete with those guys that believe that they're the best. I believe I'm the best. You believe you're the best, and let's see who comes out on top.
We'll go next to Mark Skoll.
Hey, Jeremiah, Brian Kelly and Coach Lee have talked about recently how you've risen through the ranks from scout team to Butkus Award winner, and that you always had that want to be great, to become who you've become. How hard was that sitting, watching for a while, for a couple of years, then getting your first opportunity really to play last year and now becoming the player you are today?
Man, sheesh. It's been crazy just to look at the way that I kind of, progressed over time, from going to scout team, having to play DN, against Mike McGlinchey, and having to, play middle linebacker and rush against Quinn Nelson and guys like that. Just going through that process and kind of watching the guys and how they handled themselves, even Brandon Wimbush. Just watching those guys on the defensive side when I was in scout, not really having the ability to, be in the defense and being in the game plan and stuff like that. It was just an opportunity where I got to learn. I would say that process was needed. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful process. It's beauty in the struggle, as J. Cole says. But yeah, I loved it, honestly, man. I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I wouldn't have it, I start off, this great guy and this beautiful guy, and then I couldn't be relatable. Now I can be relatable to some of those guys that are on scout team. Now I can be relatable to some of those guys that aren't where they need to be or where they want to be, and that ultimately allows me to be a type of leader that I want to be, because how can I guide you down a path that I haven't seen before? So
We'll go next to Chuck Freeby.
Jeremiah, two-part question. Clark Lee talked about the humility that you've had to learn, to be willing to learn at the position. Number one, can you tell me what the main thing you've learned from Clark Lee is to make yourself better? And number two, how gratifying was the reaction of your teammates when you were named the Butkus Award winner?
I got you. To the first question, I think the biggest thing I've learned from Coach Lee is probably the art of words. He always talks about the art of words, how it can be a distraction, how it can cause you to ultimately live in a different world and forget about, your true talent, forget about what got you to the place that you are in right now. I think I've learned that, what I just said before, always to leave the situation that you're in, the program that you're in, better than you found it in some way, shape, or form. And I think Coach Lee is a good mentor and a good representation of that. I think those are the two key things that I take away from Coach Lee is, the art of words and how it can distract you, and how you have to focus on yourself and not let the compliments, get to your head, not let the compliments overshadow, who you truly are. Because ultimately what matters is the performance. So you have the art of words, and then you have leaving a place better than you found it. To the second question, I believe, I was speaking so much, I talked too much. What was the second question again?
Regarding the reaction of your teammates when you won the Butkus Award.
Man, it was good to know that, guys are always, behind your back. Guys are always lifting you up. Even if I didn't win the award, the guys will still, be behind me. That this is a brotherhood. This is something like nothing before that I've been in the 4 years that I've, been playing here. It's always a great feeling when, you have the guys closest to you, the guys who you spend dang near 11 out of the 12 months with, always behind you, always picking you up and always cheering you on. So, the glory goes to me, but the glory also goes to them as well. So.
We'll go next to Darren Pritchett.
Jeremiah, you look at the results, stopping the run the last two games, not the same as earlier in the year. As you've turned on the film, is there anything that has stood out that you believe is going to be necessary to be fixed leading into this matchup against Alabama's run game?
Man, that's just the most simple question I've got all day. It's just about execution. It's about the small things. It's about whether I'm going to get reached, or whether it's about I'm going to fit my gap full speed, or whether I'm going to pat my feet. It's in the small things that we didn't execute on in the last two games. It's in the very small things. And I think when we go back to watch the film, we key in on those things and find the fundamentals and get back what we had, man. We had an edge. We have to get back to that. And I think, once we find that edge again, which I think we are, looking at these practices that we've been having, it's been some great practices. We'll get that edge back, and we'll key in on what we need to key in on, and we'll ultimately execute to lead to, being that defense that stops the run as well as the pass. So
we'll go next to Andrew Mentok.
You mentioned how your experiences on the scout team made you a better leader, and some of your other teammates like MTA praised your leadership abilities and positivity. Is being a good leader something you make like concerted effort towards, or is that something that kind of comes naturally, especially being so positive?
What I'm saying is you're born a leader. I don't think you can form somebody as much as you want to try. I don't think you can form somebody into being a leader as much as you try to teach them and do all these certain things. You have, take a look at nature. You have a lion. A lion's not the biggest, not the fastest, not the tallest person, but what makes him the king of his kingdom is his attitude. And that attitude was instilled in him from birth. So, I think it's a thing where I hold it as a high, place to be at, just to be a leader. But also, I don't want to be in the limelight all the time. I want to be that leader that talks to the man one-on-one behind the scenes, talks to the man, go sit down for dinner, that type of guy, I think. And ultimately, that is the type of guy that you want on your team, the type of guy that, you want in your program that, doesn't do it for the lights, doesn't do it for the cameras, but also does it behind the scenes. So.
We'll hand it over next to Tim Priester.
Jeremiah, you touched upon Coach Lee, and he mentioned about the art of words, but could you just encapsulate what Coach Lee has meant to you and the role that he's played in your development?
Well, he's been a difference maker. He's been a different type of coach. I've never had a type of coach like Coach Lee. He doesn't yell much. He doesn't complain much. He's really a guy that's hard-nosed and is truly gritty. All my life, I've had coaches that, have that aggressive nature, that yell, and that has made me who I am today, and I'm appreciative of that. But Coach Lee, he has a different style. He's more of a technical, analytical type of guy that, wants you to understand the philosophies of the world, wants you to understand the philosophies of football. And I think that approach has ultimately made me reach this kind of almost holistic football player. I haven't got there yet, nowhere close. But I think that has ultimately led me in the right direction with him being a difference maker for me in that arena of my life. So.
All right, and we will wrap it up this afternoon, or morning rather, with Chris Daly.
Chris Daly.
Hey, Jeremiah. So a lot of people focus on the football side of preparation, but how are you preparing mentally for a game like Alabama in the Rose Bowl?
How do you prepare mentally? I was asked a question similar to that, I think on my Instagram one day, and I said, the challenge is not to be nervous. The challenge is not to have butterflies. It's to key in on your responsibilities, key in on you. If you're nervous, if you have butterflies, that's half of the battle you lost. I think the number one thing is when you're getting ready for a game like this is to not focus on Alabama. You watch too much film, you be like, dang, these dudes it's amazing. They got it and gods and, all this. You start to get, certain mindsets. But if you key in and you focus on the things that you're supposed to key in on, if you focus on yourself, if our team performs how our team is supposed to perform, everything else will handle itself. The key is not to just focus on how good he is or how good, this guy is, but it's to focus on yourself and your development. And ultimately, that process will drive you to meet that opportunity and to ultimately succeed in your performance. So.
All right, and we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Jeremiah.
Sure.
And we will hand it back over to Karen Linhart at the Rose Bowl for some more information.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. Just as a reminder, the transcripts will be available on collegepressbox.com and via the CFP Media portal. The videos will also be available on the CFP Media portal here shortly within the next hour. We'll see you all at 12 o'clock for the Alabama offensive availability. Thank you.